You segue to the Raptors and what's going on in Toronto, what happened last night.
Oh, boy.
Enough.
Yeah.
It's over, right? It's over. And I think what I have clarified based on what I've seen recently, and it didn't just begin last night, but the last two losses in Milwaukee and in Minnesota without prominent players in the lineup for the opposition, up 18 at one point last night, you got to start unloading pieces. And you got to commit to the tank.
Dude,
You
thank
have
you
to.
very much.
You have to do it. You have to because because what happened in the bubble was they held on to their pieces. They were not loud at the trade deadline.
No.
They traded Norm. That's who they made a deal for. But they bought in Gary Trent, who actually fit in pretty well and played pretty well. But injuries, they took guys out of the lineup, and everything continued to go
Larry
south
barely
for them.
played down the stretch.
Exactly. They cannot do that because they may get hot enough to sneak in.
That's the problem.
You can't allow it.
Yeah.
Like Van Vliet's got to go if he's not a part of your future. Trent's got to go if he's not a part of their future. And there's no way both of them can be because they're not spending into the luxury on this group.
No.
It doesn't add up. Before you've even paid Scotty Barnes. So they need to commit to the tank. And for me, that begins with Van Vliet, Trent, and then probably your last 25 games going to Siakam and Anunoby and saying, maybe you're not playing back-to-backs. You're probably capping at 30 minutes a night.
Yeah.
Like, you got to lose.
Yeah.
And this is the year to do it because it's arguably the greatest top end of the draft we've seen since the 03 draft.
Got to get those
Siakam
odds.
and
Gotta get those
Anunoby,
odds up.
Do you have any nicks or bruises? You're done for the year.
Basically, that's
Wow.
what's got to I mean, the players have to commit to that, but you kind of need to be like, guys, if you're going, go. Because the team's telling you that they're anyway. They're on the outside looking in. They lose all the time. Defensively, they're terrible.
Oh.
Recently, anyway.
Shockingly terrible.
Yes.
On the defensive side of the ball. They let, the Minnesota Timberwolves without their best players shoot 56% in the fourth quarter, 5 for 9 from 3. It was embarrassing.
Right. And their offense goes cold at the worst times.
Right.
Last night being a perfect example of that. This is where they're at right now. They are proving who they are. It doesn't mean individually you don't have pieces or individually you don't have guys you like. Everyone loves Van Vliet.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's,
Heart and soul.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of Trent, like for the most part, the way he plays when he decides to dig in. But
that's a when, right? When he
It's a
decides
when.
to dig in, and he's marketable, right?
Yes.
There's contenders want a guy that can provide instant offense. You can get something for Gary Trent, and you have to do that.
Absolutely. I think you got to commit, and you got to try to bottom out because you know what they have to? They've got built up credentials and I think a backing in this market where, again, using Vancouver and the Canucks as an example, fans out there for 10 years have been saying, we're not good enough.
Yeah, blow it up.
Like, blow it up. Just commit to the Raptors' last 10 years has been phenomenal, including a championship, a run to the Eastern Final.
Eastern Final.
They've won
before that.
multiple
Yeah.
rounds in the playoffs. They have had a great run. You've built up collateral with the fan base. It's all good. It's all
let
good.
me just ask you one detail. If your plan, according to your plan, what if Pascal and OG say we're not on board with this and we don't like it? Do you have to say, look, you're a part of what's going on here, so okay, you got to go too? Or what happens if that transaction goes down?
That's the nature of the NBA is that is likely that one of them say that.
Well, and I'll tell you who it's going to be.
Who do you think?
Pascal Siakam has a lot on the line here.
Mm-hmm.
If he can get an All-NBA nod, which he got last year, rose back to prominence, he can get that supermax contract. So you're talking about a tens of millions of dollars difference if you get All-NBA or you don't.
So what does that mean? He wants to stay here or go somewhere else?
No, what it means is he wants to keep playing hard for a team that's trying to win, O-Dog, because if you're playing for a tanking team, guess what? You're not getting voted to the All-NBA team.
Right, and that is something that may be out of his control. Again, they're tanking anyway without announcing it.
Yes.
If you're outside of a play-in, you're not a very good team.
No,
Jimmy
you're not.
Rutherford said that the other day. He's like, I thought we were tanking.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I know we didn't put a sign on the lawn, but we're tanking.
Yeah.
And so Pascal, I think, is smart enough to understand that.
Well,
But-
the other guy that might not go along with it is Nick Nurse, because Nick Nurse is trying to win every night. And it's been part of the problem in Toronto is that he has, tried to win every night to the point of ignoring his bench in large part and running his starters into the ground. We saw it last year with Van Vliet getting hurt down the stretch and not being able to finish up the playoff series. We're seeing it this year with the exhaustion level of these guys because they're playing more minutes than anybody in this league. In a league where load management is just de facto practice nowadays, and the Raptors went a big way in kind of inventing that, the Raptors are into load maximization.
Yeah, they are.
They don't bother with load management anymore.
No,
they can't.
They're playing guys into the ground. It's
crazy.
And I think also that is a sign of how well a tank could go. Is Nick Nurse is telling you there's some tank lineups in this group.
Oh.
Like there's some, you take Van Vliet out, Trent out, and you sit Anunoby for a night, you're going to have a rotation that is horrendous. Even with Scotty Barnes, even with Siakam playing as well as they have been playing. Scotty was outstanding last night, and it still didn't matter in the end because of the way things played out.